Good morning. I'm here with Dr. David Young and Mrs. Lorraine Fernando. Most of you have heard me before and you have seen me come here on behalf of the foundation supporting a national trauma service in Sri Lanka, which is also called Project Beap. It was really the organization that took on from where Help Sri Lanka left off after the tsunami of 2004. Most of you know that when I was here last and speaking to you, I was appealing for your support to have the building completed. Well, that has been done. We now have a 3-story, 86-bed accident and emergency facility at the General Hospital in Batticaloa, and it is working extremely well. In fact, it came in very useful when we had the Easter Sunday bombing in 2019, and we had approximately 100 patients and people that were seriously wounded and dead brought to the accident and emergency section of the hospital and treated from there or sent to other places for further treatment. Now, the hospital has become a COVID management center, a place where people are now housed to get over their COVID problems. And we had about 20 patients occupying the hospital yesterday, but today I'm pleased to tell you that we're down from 20 to about 14. There are far less people now in the ICU. I wanted to focus attention on Dr. David Young, the visionary and the founder of this whole foundation and this project. He's here with us today, and he might ask me some questions that I can answer, and in turn I might put some questions to him as to where we're going. We're also accompanied here today by Mrs. Lorraine Fernando, who is the Executive Secretary of the Foundation, and between us we have raised the money to get this A&E operational center going. A very significant thing that's happening this coming week is the delivery of a 164-slice CT scanner that is arriving from Japan and will be delivered and installed at the A&E hospital. This is a significant achievement, mainly because we have managed to not only raise our share of the money, but we have induced the Sri Lankan government to part with something like 450,000 US on top of the 200,000 US that we gave them to purchase this very expensive and sophisticated piece of equipment. David, tell me, in your opinion, do we really need a CT for COVID management? Is it useful in that area as well for diagnosis?
We've, of course, originally purchased this for trauma management. It's a very rapid way of assessing severe polytrauma, but it's also very useful in COVID because it's the lungs that get primarily affected, and you can diagnose the severity of that lung disease very quickly with a 164-slice CT scanner, which takes literally only minutes to scan the lungs and see how much trouble the patient's in and whether they should go straight onto ventilators or they can just be managed with oxygen support. But it's for the polytrauma, it's for the future, because hopefully we'll get over this pandemic. It's long-term future that we really want this machine. It's the first 164-slice CT scanner in the country, so it makes now Batticaloa one of the premier accident emergency departments for the whole country. And our vision is that hopefully there's going to be a helipad built on top of the hospital, and so that will be the evacuation centre for all of that east coast of Sri Lanka. Now, someone comes in with polytrauma, they can be wheeled into this new scanner, and again within minutes you've scanned top to bottom, head to toe, and very rapidly assessed all the major injuries, and so you can prioritise what needs to be treated very, very quickly. So if you're going to be a premier state-of-the-art accident emergency department, it was essential that we got this scanner, and it is the final piece in the setting up of the A&E department, and I'm absolutely thrilled that we've achieved that and it's arriving next week.
Strangely, although we built that hospital with the help of the Ministry of Health in Sri Lanka for accident and emergency management, those requirements have slowed down a lot. There's much less road accidents, much less industrial accidents because of COVID and because things have been locked down and shut down and there's hardly any traffic on the road. However, the raging problem right now is COVID management. And the Batticaloa Hospital, being such a large general hospital, acts as the place where a number of COVID management facilities are directing their worst case patients. There are many little COVID management centers that have propped up along the East Coast. But when it comes to serious ICU kind of management, they have to come to Batticaloa, which raises the next matter that I want to bring to your attention. The need for more ICU facilities is still with us. We have 7 ICU beds and ventilators operating in Batticaloa now. Not all of them are being used right at this day, but we will need to expand it in case we have a fourth wave of the Delta strain or other COVID issues. So we are putting out a request there to people to consider donating money to the foundation supporting a national trauma service in Sri Lanka, which is Project Beap, for the purchase of the most expensive part of an ICU, which is ventilators. The ventilator costs 5 million rupees, and that's about 35,000 Australian dollars. And we would need another 5 of these going forward. We are putting out a word to the community because different parts of the community are doing things for various parts of Sri Lankan medical services. We would be one that would like to provide 5 more ventilators to the Batticaloa Hospital when they have an expansion of the COVID management facility. Lorraine, you've been quiet. Have you got any questions that you'd like to put to me?
Yes, Nihal. For the benefit of our audience, we know these facts and figures, but can you tell me the Batticaloa Accident and Emergency Hospital, in terms of numbers, what sort of population does the A&E hospital cover?
Well, in terms of the number of people that are coming in for consulting?
No, in general terms.
Well, the eastern province of Sri Lanka accounts for about 2.5 million people.
Right.
And it extends from Ampara in the south all the way up to Trincomalee in the north. Now, there are other hospitals that are available. Trincomalee has a hospital, Ampara has a hospital, and there are smaller hospitals and private hospitals. However, the teaching hospital in Batticaloa is the largest of them all. It's still a 1,000 bed hospital with about 1,300 employees. So it's no small place, it's a big place. They are constructing a new ICU building facility, which is nearly ready. We would want equipment for it, beds, ventilators, and that's something we want to prepare for. We can't relax too much on Delta and COVID just yet. We could see a further raising of this problem or another strain that comes and hits us. And that's the same for both Australia and for Sri Lanka and all countries. So today's purpose of today's discussion is to get in front of the Sri Lankan expatriate community and say that we are here, we've got a track record, we've done the job, we've got the correct legal structure, we have the necessary controls, audits, and the Australian Charity Commission that we have to report to. You have no fears as to where your money will go. It's all accounted for. And if you wish to make donations, you can contact us through the Vishvavahini network or through the Pahana newspapers, or most of you would know where I can be contacted. I'm Nihal Dhiran. I'm the CEO of the organization. Have you got anything to add to that, David?
Nihal, you raised very interesting subject this morning, and that is the difficulty of donating to Sri Lanka at the present time. Now, we ran into difficulties because of the 20% tax that was put on all donations of major equipment items going into the country, and we were able to work with the government and work around that. And we've also been able to get the government always to support what we're trying to do there and contribute significantly to the cost of our projects. What you told me this morning, I think it's interesting for the audience to hear.
Yeah, well, the government of Sri Lanka has said we don't want rampant imports coming into the country, mainly because they can't afford to pay for it. Foreign exchange is extremely short, and I think everybody knows that, including the audience. But they would like to control what comes in. They don't want to get rubbish, they don't want to get outdated machinery and equipment, they don't have the money for parts and services, so they ask for some controls. And right now we have to be careful about sending pieces of equipment from Australia, or from any country for that matter. But money can be transferred through the Ministry of Health, and we have a joint account with the Ministry of Health in the National Health Development Fund. So we could transfer our funds there and then ask if they would like to apply it like we did for the CT scanner. And that's a better way to do it.
Absolutely, and there are absolutely no costs involved in our organisation whatsoever. We're all voluntary there. So every dollar, I like to think, gets driven further, because basically the government matches us 2 for 1. So for every dollar that's donated becomes $3 of actual equipment in Sri Lanka. And that's why we feel that we're able to achieve things and have achieved things. The runs are on the board now, what we've been able to do. But I get almost daily requests for equipment in Sri Lanka, and if you just send a piece of equipment over there, it's very unlikely that it's going to get used, and can attract a duty to get into the country, and there's great difficulties getting through customs to get into the country. So
it's very difficult.
I think you have to think about organisations that have track records, have good communication with the governments of Sri Lanka, and then we don't run into hurdles and don't run into political problems.
And what you want is some feedback as to where your money has gone, what it has been spent on, and how it is being used, and we can give you that. And we know there are a number of organizations, they all mean well, they all want to collect funds or send equipment, but you have to be very careful about what you do in a situation like we have. Well, I want to say thank you to the audience for listening to us, and if you wish to contact us, my mobile number is 0419 382 142, Nihal Duran. If you want, our website address is www.projectbeap.org. But to contact me, a telephone call is all you need to do. Thank you very much.
And thank you for your support.
Thank you.
Good luck.